Hey yo, what it do? It's your boy J Lou, and you guys are just in time for another video. In this video, what I want to talk about is basically how to get a swirl crown. I know a lot of you guys are waiting on this video. I'm going to break it down into two parts. The first part will be this video. I'll explain how you get a swirl crown. The second part will be my crown method. So I'm going to try to break it up so I won't have two long videos. But I don't want to waste you guys' time. Let's jump straight into the video. So the first thing you're gonna need is a mirror. So I'm gonna grab my mirror from right here from the wall. In order to get a swirl crown, you need to know where your crown is. If you don't know where your crown is, I'm gonna drop a link somewhere right here. Make sure you click on it. It's a video I did basically to teach you how to find your crown. The next video that I did after that was it'll be posted right here as well. It's how to remove the line from your crown. Whenever you want to get a swirl, you want to know where your crown is, as well as how to make sure there's no lines in your crown. So make sure you watch both of those videos if you haven't already. Once you know where your crown, where your natural crown is, you should know how it swirls, and then just decide which swirl you want to go with. So that's the most common swirl pattern in the waving world. But a lot of people that are not familiar with waving have no idea about 720s. So if you take a look at my pattern, as you can see with my hair swirls, but the swirl is a lot more, it slants a lot more than a regular 360 swirl. When you first start off trying to get a swirl, you will not be able to see it. So the importance is being able to visualize the finished product. Before I was able to get my crown the way it was, I had to visualize how I wanted it to look and then brush those angles the way that I wanted to get my swirl. Oh, the tool that I'm going to be using today is my oval shaped Torino Pro. This is the 6451. It's a medium hard. This is probably my favorite brush right here. One thing I want to point out real quick is a lot of people really don't understand when it comes to getting waves, the direction that you brush will create waves perpendicular to the angle that you brush. To break that down, if you guys don't understand, like let's say I'm brushing in this direction right here. So if I brush down, my angle is going straight down, but my waves are gonna form perpendicular to that angle. Whenever you want to get a swirl crown, that's what you gotta keep in mind to find your angles to get the swirl. Check out these diagrams I'm gonna post, and I'll go into more detail of what I'm talking about with the angles that I started off with.
Alright, so let's jump it off. On the left side, you have my scalp picture. On the right side, you have my progress in 8 weeks. As you can see, from my crown, I made it swirl. Once my back started swirling, like I told you guys, I ended up having to brush my crown in these angles. And as you can see, one thing I really want to point out is based off of these angles, my wave started forming perpendicular, which means 90 degrees to the angles that I was brushing it. It's not exactly all the way around because it is a swirl. It started off in 4 straight like square angles, but then as my hair started growing in, I realized what I had to do was, in order to complete the swirl, I had to change up my angles and hook them. And as you can see in this picture, this is me showing you guys how I hook my left side just to be able to get my hair to be able to swirl up the way I needed to, so that my left side would come in the way I wanted it to.
Alright, so after looking at the angles, let me break it down a little bit more so you guys can understand. When I was brushing my back, a lot of times I like to vertical brush my back. So therefore, instead of brushing this way, this covers more of my back. But when I vertical brush, this is more targeted. So when I get close to my crown, what I can do is simply brush in this direction. Because my angle is going this way, my waves will form perpendicular to that angle. So when I started brushing off like this was my angle for the back for 720s. I just kept brushing my back like that, And if you don't know, my previous pattern were 360, so I had to break my existing pattern. So you can kind of see that the back still kind of wants to go into 360s right here. But if you keep focusing on your angles and keep brushing, put in the work, eventually your hair will start lining up with your angles, you know? So the next angle that I had was the top. When I was brushing my top, I was brushing it like this. And even though on my crown picture that I showed you with the angles, I started off with straight angles, but then I realized when you get a swirl, you have to hook your angles. So for me, even though it was originally straight across, what I started doing was I just started hooking my angle to make my pattern flow from my crown, you know? So with the beehive, it's a lot different. When you want to get the beehive and close your beehive crown, all you do is brush away from your crown in the straight angles away from your crown. But with a swirl, what I have noticed is that I have to brush my angles curve slightly. When it came to my right side, what I had to do was brush my angle like this. As you can see, that's a straight angle right there. One thing I want to point out right here is depending on where your crown is located, you may have to change up how you brush. So let me explain a little bit more in detail. So like I just mentioned, my top, my side, my right side, and then my back, I was able to brush in the angles based on the diagram. But because my crown is slightly to the right, it's not directly centered. What I realized was in order for my crown to be able to swirl and flow the way it needs to, I needed to start with my brush. I take the tip portion of my brush and I put that right outside of my crown. And then instead of brushing that straight angle that I showed you guys, I realized I had to hook it. So I'll start hooking it like this in order for it to swirl. Now, as you all can see, for me starting at the bottom, hooking to the top, that goes straight into my top angle. So I start from right here, make sure that my brush is not in my crown area, as you can see, and then I just hook it around. That's more so the breakdown of how I had to understand my angles. Everybody is different. Everybody has different angles. If your crown is directly in the center, you may not have to hook your left side. If you want a reverse 720 pattern, your angles are going to be different. But at the base of everything, the four angles that I showed you guys are the 4 angles that are necessary to get a 720 swirl. All of these tips that I gave you all still apply whenever you're trying to get a 360 swirl or a 540 swirl crown. All you have to do is follow your angles, and remember, whenever you brush, whatever angle you're following with your brush, your waves are going to form perpendicular to that angle. Even if you're vertical brushing, whatever angle that you're brushing in, your waves are going to form perpendicular to that angle. So just to recap, you have to visualize how you want your crown to form. Because I wanted my swirl to be a lot more, to spin a lot more, then I had to find the angles that will make my hair spin harder. So when, like I said, when I came to the left side, I had to hook my left side super hard because my crown is off center to the right a little bit. Now when it comes to my right side, this is a straight angle. You know, it helps my pattern flow right here. And then if I go all the way through the back, let me show it like this. Like at the back, like I told you guys, I mainly vertical brush, hit that straight angle. And then it carries on from the back over like this to my left. But the closer I get to my crown on my left side, I can't vertical brush this side because as you can see, this side of my pattern, it goes straight and then tends to hook. So because that hook is so steep, what I had to do is basically hook my left side of my crown very sharp. So I started like I told you and then just hooked it. At the top, because I'm hooking it like that, as you can see, if I take my brush like that, that's my angles for my top. So it flows in that pattern. in order to get connections on your waves, you have to make sure you use the right angles. So one thing I encourage whenever you do crown work, always use a hand mirror with your restroom mirror, or just make sure you have a mirror in the back. You're using 2 mirrors so you can see your crown. If you don't have a hand mirror, you can always use your phone, basically the selfie cam on your phone, the front cam on your phone, and then just face it to where you're looking back towards the mirror and brush your crown. But it's your boy J. Lou.
You know what I'm saying?
I didn't want to make this video too long. Hopefully it's not too long. But I appreciate everybody that's been checking the video out. Man, I got so much in store for you guys. What I finally decided to do, I'm going to do 2 giveaways. One is going to be mainly for people on Waves or Life. So if you haven't, make sure you check the description out. Make sure you click on the link to join our group. But the second giveaway will be strictly for YouTube, for people that's on YouTube, for my subscribers. You know, so I appreciate you guys. I appreciate all the love. One thing I don't normally ask, but I will ask, is if this video helped you out to understand the swirl, feel free to share it, you know, because a lot of times people really don't know the breakdowns of this stuff. So feel free to share it. Let me know. Follow me on Facebook. I got all my links in my About Me on my YouTube channel. So if you ever have any questions, you can always add me as a friend. Hit me up in my inbox. I'm always willing to help you guys because you guys help me. But it's your boy J. Lou. I'm about to sign off in this thing. Salute.